Okay, it's time. Who makes it in my team of the season? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to center around my personal choices for team of the season. Before we get into all of that though, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things have always and forever be greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comment section as well. Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling about my personal choices or your own personal choices for who you think should make it into the team of the season, as another Premier League campaign is in the history books yet again. And without further ado, we're going to kick things off. We're going to start off with the goalkeeper situation. And I've gone with a certain Matt Sels of Nottingham Forest. A fantastic campaign for Forest overall. A campaign in which no one was expecting them to do anything of sorts. And yet, next season, they're going to be playing Europa Conference League football. And a big part of that was down to the goalkeeper who made a lot of extremely great saves, who saved them a lot of points, and overall kept them 13 clean sheets in the Premier League, the joint most clean sheets with Arsenal's David Raya. A fantastic accomplishment for both men and for obviously Sels himself. And yes, I could have gone with a David Raya in goal over Matt Sels, but I think because Forest weren't expected to do anything and because they qualified for some form of European football, I'm going to say that Sels gets in just over David Raya in my personal opinion. But that isn't to say that David Raya didn't have a good season himself individually, or that, that's not to say that he was completely terrible. I just had to choose one or the other, and I've gone with Sels, who I didn't really rate at the beginning of the season, but he definitely proved me wrong as the season progressed, and he did really well to help Forest towards European football this season. Next up, we're going to go with the centre-backs of Nikola Milenkovic and Virgil van Dijk. Again, another Forest player who has been rock solid and ever-present defensively for Nottingham Forest. An absolutely incredible signing when he made the leap from Serie A to the Premier League last summer. He's been absolutely incredible in his debut season in the Premier League, I think. And again, I am up for debate with this one. I know a lot of Arsenal fans are probably angry I didn't put Gabriel in, and I agree that Gabriel has been absolutely phenomenal this season, and Dean Huijsen of Bournemouth has also been incredible for a breakout season from a young player. But for me, Milenkovic, having played about 37 of 38 appearances, been ever so consistent with Nottingham Forest and helped them massively towards their Europa Conference League football for next season. I think he deserves to get into this team, in all honesty, and I think he's also got 5 goals to boot as well. So I'm going to go with Milenkovic on this one. And Virgil van Dijk, I mean, do I really need to say anything more than Virgil van Dijk? He's been back to his best this season. He's been absolutely imperious throughout the entirety of the campaign. Ever present, ever so consistent. I can't think of a better defender, at least in the Premier League right now, than Virgil van Dijk. It's a bit of a no-brainer, in all honesty. Next up, the fullback situation, and again, this one was really up for debate. I am absolutely open to leeway on this because I couldn't decide between 3 right backs and 3 left backs, but in the end, I did choose Daniel Munoz of Crystal Palace, and I did choose Anthony Robinson of Fulham. Now, hear me out on this. I had to factor in a little bit of Crystal Palace's brilliant FA Cup run for Daniel Munoz, an FA Cup winner with 4 goals and 6 assists in the Premier League. Not bad for a very attacking and adventurous right back. He also has contributed to a brilliant Crystal Palace defence that away from home especially has been brilliant this season. Oliver Glasner continues his work and progression with this Palace side. They have done really, really well in terms of that outlet, and Daniel Munoz has been an ever so consistent factor for them across the entirety of the season. Now, I did have a couple of honourable mentions for this, like I mentioned. Ola Aina of Nottingham Forest, I think, was superb for the vast majority of the season before obviously losing out to injury towards the end of the campaign. I think you could really tell that he was missing from that Forest outlet towards the end of the campaign. And Jurrien Timber of Arsenal. I think he's been ever so consistent. I think he's been brilliant for the Gunners. But I had to choose one, and I went with the FA Cup winner over the other two. As far as the left back goes, look, there was again 3, maybe 4 options that I could consider for that left back role. I want to give a brief shout out to Marc Cucurella, who turned up for Chelsea when they really needed him to most. Scored a few important goals as well. Overall, though, was actually quite consistent for Chelsea. I've got to admit, started to really show why Chelsea spent so much money on him from his move from Brighton a couple of years ago. And Milos Kerkez, 21-year-old Hungarian international, absolutely brilliant for Bournemouth, helped them towards a very respectable finish for the Cherries, was ever so consistent throughout the entirety of the campaign. A few goals, few assists to his name as well, and a lot of chances created, and of course he's going to be potentially moving on from Bournemouth this season to Liverpool, so with all due respect to Bournemouth, a bit of a step up there. But I've gone with Anthony Robinson. And the reason I've gone with Anthony Robinson is because of one big stat in particular. 10 assists. Double figures for a left back. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and I think that he's helped Fulham towards a respectable finish. Again, I'm very much open to debate with these two. The fullback situation, I think, has been hotly contested this year, and usually there is only like 1, maybe 2 at most standout performers. But I think this year you could definitely make a case for 2, 3, 4 performers in those particular positions. So, fair play to everybody involved. Midfield, we're going to go with Ryan Gravenberch and Moises Caicedo. Gravenberch, incredible this season. The way that he has obviously adopted and adapted to a new position, the way that he's been ever so consistent, the DM role that Arne Slot has put him in, he has taken to it like a duck to water when nobody expected him to. Nobody was anticipating that Ryan Gravenberch was going to turn out to be one of the best DMs in the Premier League. And yet here we are talking about it, and him being a big contributing factor to why Liverpool won the Premier League. Absolutely incredible from him. And Moises Caicedo is a little bit similar, like a fantastic player, ever so consistent, and has started to show his worth this season for Chelsea. When they needed him most, that's when he stepped up. When they needed him to cover in a different position that he was not used to as right back, he stepped up. He was absolutely brilliant. You can obviously tell he's more comfortable and better in the central role, but at the same time he was still able to adapt for his club and help them get across that finish line and help them towards Champions League football, which of course is massive for the Blues and massive for him going forward as well. So fair play there. Next up, I had to go with Alexis McAllister. Now again, for all of these positions, there are honourable mentions. You can go with Declan Rice. You can go with Bruno Fernandes, even though Man United had a poor season. Him individually had a brilliant season. I think Dejan Kulusevski, for the majority of this season, was brilliant for Spurs, even though Spurs overall were not. And I think the likes of Mateus Cunha and Morgan Rogers were absolutely brilliant for their respective clubs. But Alexis McAllister, for me, was ever so consistent. Ever so consistent. He was absolutely brilliant for Liverpool. And I think that some of his performances really did go under the radar. for the Reds. And I think that whilst the likes of Ryan Gravenberch got some of the or most of the credit, especially for the first half to 3/4 of the season, whilst Dominic Szoboszlai turned up in some key moments with some big goals and some big assists and got some of the headlines, the one common thread, I guess you could say, the one consistent factor in this team, the one that was controlling everything, the brains behind the operation, I guess you could say, was Alexis Mac Allister, in my opinion. Ever so consistent, ever so amazing, and I can't honestly speak highly enough of this player. I think he's absolutely brilliant, and I'm so glad he's a Liverpool player. I genuinely think that he deserves a place in this team of the season. I think that some of his performances, like I said, go a little bit under the radar. Like I say, there are some other candidates you can probably put in this role, but for me, Mac Allister has been outstanding, and I'm so glad he's a Liverpool player. I am so glad he's a Liverpool player. I can't speak highly enough of him. I really, really can't. Next up, the wing positions. On the right, Mohamed Salah. On the left, Antoine Semenyo. For Mo Salah, look, do I really, really need to argue this point? Do I really need to argue this case? Clearly the best player in the Premier League this season. Clearly worthy of winning the Player of the Year award, the Football Writers Player of the Year award, or whatever the Player of the Year award is. He should be sweeping the awards. And as you can tell from the image alone, the top goal scorer with 29 goals in the Premier League. The top assist maker with 18 assists. A ton more goals in other competitions as well. Properly spearheaded Liverpool's title challenge this season and title victory. Helped in other areas as well. The guy was ever so consistent, ever so amazing, ever so phenomenal, and hopefully long may it continue. I'm not anticipating him to get the same level of goals and assists next season, but if he can, he will be an absolute phenom, an absolute phenomenon, an absolute beast of a player. Mohamed Salah. Now, honourable mention for the right wing position goes to Bryan Mbeumo. I'm not going to do what certain media outlets do when they obviously talk about team of the season and they try and shoehorn players into different positions when they haven't played there all season to kind of create, obviously, them playing in a different role, because that's just unfair to the players that have actually played in other positions. To my knowledge, Bryan Mbeumo has not played left wing, otherwise he would be in the team of the season. But with 20 goals this season and with 8 assists, Bryan Mbeumo for Brentford does deserve an honourable mention. It's just unfortunate that, of course, he's coming up against a Mohamed Salah who is absolutely insane right now. Left wing, again, I could have gone the Liverpool bias route with Luis Diaz, but I've gone with Antoine Semenyo instead. Player that I don't think not a lot of us were anticipating to have as good a season as what he did. I think he's been brilliant. Again, you could maybe make a case for like someone like Eberechi Eze, for example. Maybe you could go with, like I say, a Luis Diaz. But for me, Antoine Semenyo is that guy. Antoine Semenyo is that guy that's going to be in the left wing position of my choice 11, and the reason is 11 goals and 6 assists in what's been a very respectable and very brilliant season for Bournemouth. I think that they certainly for a large part of the season punched above their weight. I think maybe injuries and maybe a bit of a lack of squad depth maybe hindered them a little bit towards the end of the season, which is why they somewhat fell away from those European places. But overall, don't take anything away from the individual performances of certain players. Like I said, I could have easily thrown Kierkegaard into that left back position. I could have easily thrown Dean Huijsen into the centre back role as well. Antoine Semenyo definitely gets in my opinion. I don't think the left wing situation in the Premier League has actually been that great, in all honesty. Like I said, I could have thrown a Luis Diaz in there. I could have maybe slightly switched out the position of an Everidge Eze. Maybe you could have even switched out slightly the position of like a Morgan Rogers. But for me, Semenyo, who's been there, ever present, ever consistent, and like I say, not a bad goals and assists return either, in my opinion, deserves to be in that role. And finally, as far as what the starting 11 goes, I've gone Alexander Isak up front. Now, again, I think this is a no-brainer. I actually had him to be my top goal scorer at the beginning of the season. I'm glad, obviously, to be proven wrong in terms of Mo Salah. But he is the second. He takes the silver medal in terms of the goal-scoring charts for this season. 23 goals and 6 assists. And he's also a Carabao Cup winner and also achieved Newcastle's goal of obtaining Champions League football for next season. Not a bad season overall for Newcastle, and of course they have Alexander Isak to majorly thank for that, for leading the line, leading the chase, and obviously spearheading their attack. He's been absolutely brilliant, ever so consistent, and I think obtaining Champions League football means that Isak will be staying for next season at St James's Park at the very least. So enjoy him maybe whilst you can, Newcastle fans. Unless, of course, you manage to pull a rabbit out of the hat and silverware is now going to flourish and silverware is going to flow now that you, of course, have broken that kind of 70-odd year record when you won the Carabao Cup earlier on this season. For me, Isak's been exceptional. Again, you can maybe look at the likes of Erling Haaland, who maybe not had the best of seasons, but still managed to get a very respectable goals return. You can maybe look at a Liam Delap of Ipswich, of course. Again, not a lot was made of him at the beginning of the campaign, and he's had an incredible breakout season, been a bright light in an otherwise dark season for Ipswich. You can maybe look at a Chris Wood, 20 league goals for Nottingham Forest, an incredible return. I think he just is hindered by the fact that there is someone just a little better than him in this man right here. The Swedish striker, the Swedish sensation, known as Alexander Isak. And finally, the manager of the season, again, I think it's a no-brainer, Arne Slot. First season in the Premier League, deputising season, deputising for Liverpool as well. He comes in, he's not given no real backing from the ownership. He said, here's 10 million, go get yourself Federico Chiesa, and that's all you're getting for this season. And he absolutely walks the league. He makes a mockery of it, he adapts, he changes, he keeps some of the Jurgen Klopp DNA after having such a tough act to follow, but has his own little tweak, his own little spin on things here and there. And he absolutely walks the Premier League in his first time of asking. Dare I say any more? He is obviously going to be managing this starting 11 for the Premier League season, in my opinion. And there you have it. They're just my thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of my Premier League team of the season? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling, and let me know your own personal Premier League team of the season down below in the comment section. Would love to hear from you all and what you have to say on that. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video, and I'll see you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. Speak to you again very, very soon.